Okay, welcome back, guys. So, I'm going to be working on creating the wrinkles around this. So, let me just change this from train dynamic to them standard. Okay, okay, that's fine. So, we're going to start using the brush now to create wrinkle details. So, let me start by adding wrinkle. Okay, I'll start by creating wrinkles around the neck with this reference image. But I'm going to put that on a layer. So everything needs to be on a layer. I'll just name that layer wrinkles. So I'll create a new layer for this. It should be down here. And I'll just name this wrinkles. Okay, that's fine. Just checking the hand to see if there are veins in the hand. Okay, maybe I'll just accentuate some of these veins in the hand. So I'll go out of symmetry mode. Just to make sure I'm out of symmetry, okay? And I'm going to use the standard brush. But I'll plug in an alpha in here. After alpha 51 should be fine. Then the veins we already have for the hand, for the arm, for this hand, I'm just going to draw on top of that, just to accentuate them. Okay. Try to connect this. I want to go to a smaller brush size, something like so. That was too intense. Let me just go lightly like so. Yeah, that's fine. And I'll do the same for the other side. I'll just establish what we already have on there. Just establish that even more. Okay. Let me undo that. Connect this back in here. Okay, that's fine. So now for the wrinkle, let's start with the wrinkle around the chest region. So as you zoom in here, you should see some, let me use this instead. See some light wrinkles around there. So let me just do the same. Let me use the matcap gray. So I use the matcap gray for this. Okay. Let me try to isolate the torso region. So let me just isolate this torso. Yeah, something like this should be fine. Shift F to go out of. Okay. So I'll be doing the wrinkle on top of all the skin pores I've added. So I'll be doing the wrinkle on top of that. Okay, maybe I should just, this one needs to be more obvious. Take down the brush size, take off lazy mouse. Just want to intensify this a bit more. No, that does not look too good. Feels a bit weird. That feels a bit weird. Let me make the nipple a bit thicker than this. Now that is eliminating the this is taking off the detail added in there. Okay, this one actually preserves it. That's fine. Do the same for the other side. Okay. Something like this should be fine. Now that feels too wide. That feels too wide. Let me just go closer to it. Okay, that looks fine. I'll do this also. Just around it. Okay. Just create an indentation around the nipple. That's fine. So let me start adding wrinkles around the under part of the nipple. The under part of the chest. Be somewhere around here. I'll use a smaller brush size. I don't even know if this is actually showing up. Okay, showing up now. So you want to kind of draw like something like so. Shouldn't be too aggressive though. Around here should be fine. Something like that. I'll do this all the way in here. Something like this. Yeah, that should be fine. I'll do this also in the crease here. Do something also in here in this crease. Let me reduce the brush size. Okay. Something like that also. I'll do the same for the other side. It does not have to be everywhere, but at least it has to be on some of those creases, like around here, like so. Okay, maybe also even around here, but it should be on those tighter regions, because over time when that part folds over itself, begin to have wrinkles around those regions, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do here right now. Wherever I have tighter crease, just kind of add that wrinkle information in there. Okay. All right. I'm only adding this on the more visible parts of the body, like the parts that are going to be visible when we render them. Look around here now. We need something in here. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, somewhere around here should be fine also. Maybe somewhere around, just around here. In here also, probably in the center of the back. It's not very obvious though, but you can see from the side is there. Okay, this looks fine. Can do the same for the hand also. Can do something. I can definitely do something in here. Something like so. That's fine. Do something light in here. Okay. Do the same for the other side. Alright. Especially back part of this arm. So this part is not going to be really visible though, but just to have something in there. And even accentuate some of this even more. Do the same for the opposite side. Okay. Probably this side also. Okay. On the opposite side. Alright. Gonna want to add more for the hand. So I'll increase the intensity for this. And I'll just do this over on top what we have already established here already. Let me do that for this crease on the hand. Now I'm going to move like in this motion, something like so. Something coming from the skin pore texture we added over and across the arm. Oh, I'm not supposed to do this with symmetry turned on. So let's just turn on symmetry. I'll just leave the one that I've done already in there. Get a closer view on this. And for the other side also. Now this will kind of help you break up the surface even more. You kind of do this as much as I can. It's not going to be that obvious, but just to have something in there. just to have something in there. I will increase this, kind of accentuates what we already have in here already. But I won't be drawing more than three lines around this, so it doesn't get too busy. Okay, something in here like so. Get a closer view on this. Okay, but now we need a lot of this around here. Alright, that seems fine. For this other part of the yarn, the part I missed, I'll turn off symmetry for this. Okay, let me turn on symmetry because I didn't do this for the upper parts. So with symmetry turned on now, this should affect the other side before turning off symmetry. Alright. Just basically accentuating some of these lines just to establish them even more. Okay. Maybe even introduce new lines. Maybe even introduce new lines for this. Okay. We just do. I'll turn off symmetry now because I've already done this part. Already done this part already on the other part of the hand. So let me just turn off symmetry. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'll turn on symmetry now, and let me take down the process for this. Just kind of accentuate what we already have in here. There should be a lot of creases in here because the wrist will get bent quite a lot of times, so there should be a lot of creases in here. Something like this should be fine. Okay, I think we can move on to the face, I guess. There are actually also, if you look at your hand, there are also actually some creases around here too. So be sure to add those also. Okay, so we don't really have anything, we don't really have much on this part. Let me show you if I'm working on symmetry now. There I am. That's fine. So on the other side, like so, you need to kind of add these dash lines in there to break up the surface even more. Just carefully doing that. Okay. Okay. So now let's move on to the face. Let's add some wrinkle to the face. We won't be adding more any wrinkle on the legs because that part is not good. It's not going to be visible. So there's actually no point adding that here there. Okay, yeah, for the neck. Let's do something for the neck. See all these wrinkles around the neck. Let's see if we can. Yeah, we can actually isolate that. I don't know if I should use symmetry for this. Okay, let's use symmetry for this. So we'll just start with using symmetry, then we'll go out of symmetry mode. Now going out of symmetry now. The other line feels weird. This will just be like in between lines, in between. It won't do really much, but just for that to be in between. Okay. So now for the eyeball itself, rather for the face itself. So I'll bring this off symmetry. There should be a crease around this region. So adding wrinkles around there. Wrinkle shouldn't be straight lines, so you always want to kind of break the straightness of that line at some point by adding crossover. Adding crossover wrinkles on top of that. Something like this should be fine. So draw straight one, then you add crossover. It's not very visible in here, but just make sure you're adding something anyways. It's not supposed to be very visible from a distance. It's supposed to be visible from a no, it's supposed to be it's not supposed to be visible from a afar off rather. It's supposed to be visible when you kind of come closer to the model. Okay. You kind of extend that wrinkle out. I'll do the same for the nose, something like this should be fine. Then now for the eye. So for the eye, we've already established some wrinkles there already. So we're just going to use that established wrinkle around the eye. Let me isolate this. So we're going to use the established wrinkle around the eye. So just okay, yeah, we have something around here. Let's kind of do something around here like so. Even here also. Even though we already have something in there, just trying to break that up even more. Even here also. Okay, that's fine. I'll need to use the paintbrush and tighten up that crease there. That's too aggressive. Not tighten. Let me tighten that up. Okay. For this wrinkle now, I will just do something like so. More or less like working on top of what we already have. And probably adding new ones. Let me check this from a distance and see what we have. And that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So I think we are done for this. If there's any other correction to be made, you can obviously do that by yourself off this video. You can also add wrinkles around just these belly parts. So there's a fold around there. Let me just increase the brush size a bit more. And just do this as the last thing. So this part is not going to be too visible though, so it won't matter that much. But I think this is fine for now. So yeah, I think the next lesson, let's kind of work on the lips, creating details for the lips, and that should pretty much sum up most of everything we need to do for the skin detail. So bye for now.